Northwich in the Wyfold on the Berkshire station. To the left of your picture and to the right of the picture, London Rowing Club, who have been very impressive in the last couple of days. But what's happening here is the steering that's fascinating in this first bit of the race. That's Northwich, who seem to have nailed their lines and got it absolutely right.
These Cox's boats, though, are really, especially the Cox's 4, they're the hardest boats to steer, in my opinion. Having steered one of these boats down the course, it's a thing of nightmares. You're always worrying about how you're going to do, particularly this transition from buoys on the outside of the course to the wooden booms you see here. But they've both done really well to do that, and now be settling into their rhythm, 45 seconds or so into the race.
So that's London Rowing Club, you can see in the picture at the moment in the stroke seat, Boyer Portus. Getting into the rhythm now.
It's 41 strokes a minute, so they're still going for it. They haven't sort of dropped that into their race rhythm yet, and that's the reason why. It's very close off the start.
Yeah, just up at the moment, Northwich. They are now just reducing the rate marginally.
But just slowly settle down. Of course, these Cox's boats tend to take more strokes a minute than some of the big heavy boats, up to the 8s we saw earlier.
Yeah, more smooth rhythm settling in now. And Northwich against London. You said about London having a good regatta so far. They're going to have a stiffer time of it here, aren't they? A little bit more work cut out, I think, against a tougher opposition, Northwich.
I think they're doing well, actually. I think sort of Northwich has settled into their race rhythm better than London have.
Yes.
They're taking 1 or 2 less strokes a minute, which just means the strokes a little bit longer, more work through the water. There's a cracking view of them. A quick glance there from the 3-man over at London, but I think they're doing really well now. They're moving really nicely together.
Northwich with Anderson in the bow seat. You can see there in the stroke seat, George Lawton. Finn Lawton is there as well, and Leon Langby. They're the 4 that you're watching in the Northwich boat. Finished first in the A final of Tier 2 Cox's 4s at Marlow Regatta this year. Being the 3rd fastest Wyfold crew on times. 3 of the 4 rode together in 2019 as well, so competing at Henley and then racing at the Home International as well. Leon Langmead is the new member of the boat.
Northwich crew look a little bit more coordinated than the London crew. The blades are all doing the same thing, particularly during the stroke. I think they're applying the power of that stroke in a more coordinated fashion than London are. London's just fighting a bit at the moment. I think they know they're down, they're trying to react to that. Cracking view of them, you can look on their faces, that determination. They're trying to get back on level terms with the Northwich crew.
Well, this London boat, they're comprised of the top 4 club athletes at the London Rowing Club. And the rowers have been part of the first 8 who won the B final in Championship 8s on Sunday have met. So they've pinned their hopes to them, London Rowing Club. Got some of that serious work to do here, though. This could be a good one because there's not much in it. There's a long way to go.
You see the 2-man in the Northwich boat there, the grimace, because they're just through halfway now, and this is when this really starts to hurt. You see, interesting shot actually, the stroke man just had a glance down at his right foot. You see that blue little box there, that gives them all the racing information. So they'll know how many strokes per minute they're taking, how fast they're going, how long they've been into the race. And they'll have a particular plan for different parts of the race. Their plan is going absolutely to form at the moment.
Finn Lawton, 2-man that you mentioned, competing with his brother, George Lawton, in the stroke seat. A few siblings in the same boats on the water today. The Lawtons are the first out.
It's still close. There's a little bit of parallax from this view. But London are less than a length behind. According to the signal in the background, it's half a length. As you get exactly side by side, we'll see the exact lead.
Well, they're getting a bit too close for comfort. I think the umpire will be keeping a very close eye on what's going on there. Northwich and London coming close together in this Wyfold Challenge Cup heat.
I think this will attract the umpire's attention.
Sarah Winklis is there, and she is suggesting that Northwich might like to return to the Berkshire side of the water, which they are duly doing. They're listening to her and following her instruction.
Coming up to the Remnant Club, which is at one of the clubs, London.
They're back out again though,
So
Northwich.
they're getting lots of support here. So London had a big cheer, and see if they'll be able to make the most of that and push back onto level terms. Looks like 3/4 lengths down. Northwich really digging in. They're rowing fantastically well.
Well, they are, but the umpire again having to speak to Northwich.
And that's often the case when you're absolutely on the edge of performance, kind of steering, because the bow man in this crew is the person, in fact both crews, the person who steers. So they've got to actually row as well as steering, so it's a really tricky job.
Yeah, multitasking. Not my favourite thing.
It's a lot easier said than done.
They are making, God, this is so level.
I think London just getting their act together. I think they've reduced that lead a little.
So London have got quite clear overlap now. But another push from Northwich, trying to stretch out their lead again. Good tussle.
It's really interesting how one crew will put a push in for about 10 or 15 strokes, and the other one will then react to each other. Let's see what happens when we come down to the last 200 metres, because these boats can be very dynamic. They can react really, really quickly. And if one crew decides to go, that could be the deciding factor.
Yeah, who's got some gas left? It's like a dance, isn't it? Yeah, it's one boat pushing, the other boat goes.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see who responds. But at the moment, Northwich on the Berkshire station, left your picture, 3/4 of a length up. What have London Rowing Club got left in the tank? They are going to need to produce something special because they're running out of race water here. They're getting towards the end of the track, and they've got a comfortable lead of a length, Northwich. They've had problems with their steering all the way down, and the umpire again having to intervene, and Northwich, you can see there darting back towards the boom on their side of the water. They certainly don't want to get any sort of trouble from the umpire at the end of this race, because they have led it, but they've had a couple of moments where they've strayed out towards London Rowing Club on the Buck station. But they are safely over the line first. Northwich Rowing Club live to fight another day. They'll be back for Saturday and the next round. London Rowing Club over the line now. Good race. Exhausted. The oarsman in that one. That was an energy sapper.
What a cracking race. Northwich did brilliantly well, though. Just a really good example of rowing. A little bit more length in the water, just I think was made the difference. Great race.